Hey now, I love hot sauce and I love making hot sauce, and when I came across a giant old case of these beautiful red habaneros, which are also spicy, I knew it was go time. So today I'm going to be making a fun hot sauce with these, so come along for the ride. Today's recipe is going to be utilizing my Instant Pot cooking and precision cooker processing and pasteurization method. Now bear in mind that this can be adapted for either pressure canning or even freezing your hot sauce, and you don't have to use the Instant Pot for the cooking. You can just roast things in the oven or what have you, but I really like this particular method. I find it incredibly easy. So the entire recipe will be in the video description, so you can check that out there as well. Now, let's get going. And my first ingredient here is 2 pounds of carrots. I washed and peeled these, and I'm just giving them a rough chop here and getting them into a frying pan. I'm going to be caramelizing some of the veg right off the bat here. That could be done in the Instant Pot if you're trying to reduce the number of dishes that you're dealing with. However, I also find that with the Instant Pot, you don't have a lot of surface area on the bottom, and with as many ingredients as I am adding to it for that process, it'll just go a little bit quicker if I do it in this large pan. We've got 4 large red bell peppers. Just popping out the seeds and stem here. I'm going to save these for the chickens along with those carrot peels. I'm just giving these peppers a quick rough chop here and getting them into that pan as well. I have 6 ounces of fresh peeled garlic here. I'm just cutting off the little ends, giving them a single split in half here and adding them. And then finally, 1 small yellow onion here, which I'm just going to peel and then roughly chop and get this into the pan. So I've got this nonstick pan here over medium heat. I'm just letting it heat up, and then we're going to caramelize these. And while that veg is caramelizing, I've got my red habaneros here. Of course, I got my gloves on because I'm playing around with these. Now I have 20 ounces or 567 grams of these peppers, and what I'm doing with them is just slicing off the very stem, splitting them into half, and popping them aside in a bowl. We are pretty much done here. I've already pulled out the garlic and the onions. I find that they brown up first. So what we're looking to do here is not actually cook everything through. I mean, if we were, this would take quite a while for these carrots to get there. But all I want to do here is get some caramelization, get a little bit of color, and that's just going to add to the depth of flavor in our hot sauce. So my last step here before I remove my spicy habanero gloves is to take 2 oranges and 2 lemons. I'm just cutting off the peel here because I'm not wanting that in my hot sauce. I'm going to give them a rough chop, and they are going to be added into the Instant Pot here before it gets fired up. And I'll just chop them up roughly like that. Now into my Instant Pot, in addition to the onion and garlic, we're going to get the red bell peppers and carrots into here. The habaneros, of course. The citrus. Not getting full. And to really get our acidity where we want it, we've got white vinegar. This is 5% white vinegar, and I'm adding 6 cups of that. I'm just going to get my lid on here, and we'll put this on manual for 4 minutes. So I let this sit here for about 10 or 15 minutes after the pressure cook was done, and now I'm just going to let the steam out. You could just let this go until it's completely naturally depressurized. Woo, look at that. All right, let's get this blitzed. Welcome to the most exciting and most terrifying part of this operation, which is blending it up, just because I find that sometimes the blender gets a little bit overexcited. Part of that is the fact that all of this is quite hot, and then it produces a lot of steam when it's getting blended, so you really do have to be careful. I do this in batches here, and I get in some of that veg, and then also some of that liquid. That's about as full as I want to go here. I like using my glass blender for this, and also just because I'm nervous, I will set a towel over the top here. Initially, I just do a few little pulses. And at that point, you know that you are actually good to go. I like to blend each batch for a couple of minutes just to get a really nice smooth consistency here. And I do want to ensure a consistency throughout the sauce because I was just grabbing random stuff out of the Instant Pot there. I'm going to be combining all of it in this large stainless bowl. And round 2. I was just blending up the last of my batches here when I remembered the spices that I also want to put in here. So I have got a tablespoon of smoked paprika, tablespoon of black peppercorns, and we'll season with a teaspoon of kosher salt. And then we just continue to blend. I'm just going to get everything into the same stainless bowl here, and then we can sweeten. Let's take a little bit here. Not sure what to expect. Okay, so we're looking here right now mainly for heat. It's got quite a bit of it that's creeping up right now. That's awesome. I am going to go ahead with my initial plan for sweetening. And that's going to be guava nectar here. This is 960 mils, or just over 32 fluid ounces of this guava nectar. I wanted to add this because, partially because of the color here, because that's a little bit more towards that red that I was going for on this sauce. But also, I love this guava juice. I use this in a lot of my kombuchas. I've used this in brewing before, and it is fantastic. So adding that nectar there is going to give us some nice fruity guava flavor, as well as providing a lot of sweetness because that is a sweet nectar. It's also going to thin it out just a little bit and get more of the consistency or the viscosity that I was looking for. Second taste after we added that first dose of guava. All right, that is really, really quite warm. I think I'm starting to sweat over here. I'm not picking up quite as much of the guava character as I was wanting, and I would like to balance out that rather intense red habanero heat just a little bit more. So I'll be adding an extra 10 ounces or just about 300 mils of this nectar. Test number 3. All right, so we've got lots of that guava coming through that front door. Nice, sweet, fruity. Still lots of that heat coming through here. I think no matter what, this is just going to be a very, very spicy hot sauce, which is fantastic. Suicide wings, here we come. Packaging up the sauce is really nice and easy. I'm just using this silicone canning funnel, which I love using for these operations here. Just filling it up, leaving about 3/4 of an inch headspace here. I'm going to fill up all these jars. I also have them sanitized. You can do that a few different ways. A lot of people like to do that in the dishwasher, just running it on a nice hot sanitary cycle. For me, I used some of my Star San sanitizer that I use in my brewing. It's really just a nice non-toxic way to sanitize any surface. And I didn't have to tie up my dishwasher for that. So I'm gonna get all of this canned up here, and I've got the precision cooker heated up, and I'll be able to start pasteurizing this here right away. So with this sous vide pasteurization method at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, these jars would be ready here in about 2 hours. I actually wound up giving them about 3, just because of the schedule that I had going on here. But now it's time to get them out. So this recipe made around 17 of these 8-ounce or 250 ml jars. Whew. I'm excited to try this red habanero guava hot sauce here. This just sat on the counter overnight, cooling down. Smells spicy. So coming in the front door, there's some of that guava there. It's not overwhelming by any means. It's a very complementary flavor within this hot sauce, but you do get some of that fruit, some of that sweetness. I'm getting garlic, there's some of that onion, a little bit of that citrus, and of course those red habaneros are coming right on through and saying, hey now. I can see this is great for dipping all kinds of things in. I want to make hot wings and just slather them in this. It's incredibly flavorful, really rich, delicious, but very, very nicely well balanced. So if you'd like, give it a try. Until next time, keep it at 11.